Welcome to another episode of the Undergrad Forum. Now today's topic is picking a college. So how do you decide? There are a lot of colleges in the U.S. How do you decide which one is right for you and which one you're going to be happy attending? One thing you need to think about, which kind of seems like a minor point, is environment. I can't stress that enough. If you're not happy where you're going, it's going to be a miserable 4 years. And 4 years sounds kind of long, or it might sound very short, but it feels long when you start off college, and now towards the end, it feels like it went by so fast. So I don't know what to make of that, but nonetheless, you're gonna be there a lot. You're gonna have a lot of good memories of college. So you want to be happy. You want to think back and think, oh, all the good times I had in college and how enjoyable it was. And maybe you kind of push your kids to go there if you enjoyed it a lot. You have that insider idea of what your college is like. Now, when picking a college, there's a few big categories we should consider. The very first one is, do you want to go public or do you want to go private? And the second category that kind of blends in here is, do you want to go big school or small school? Now, I say these two topics blend together because not all, but most private schools are small while most public schools are bigger. An example will be, let's take my college. It's a private Catholic college, St. Mary's College of California, and it's very small. Small campus. Each classroom has at most 30 students in a room. The more advanced classes will have less. So like in biochemistry, you'll have around 16 people is the max limit you can have in that class, and the same number for the lab. Organic chemistry, of course, it'll crank up to around 30, but the more advanced classes, you have less and less people in labs, and you have you have a greater ratio of time you can spend with your professor. So it's a benefit if you desire to have that environment. Let's take another example, UC Berkeley. I took some classes there in the summertime. Very big, very, very different from St. Mary's, very different from a small school. UC Berkeley being a very good college, and fun fact about UC Berkeley, if I'm still correct, it contains the most Nobel laureates out of any college in the U.S. So there's a fun fact about UC Berkeley. You want to go where all the Nobel laureates are hanging out, that's the place. But you have to take into account that, it's a huge campus. From what I've heard and from my own experience there, the classrooms are huge. You're looking at around 200 people per classroom, sometimes even more than that. Sometimes less, especially in the summer, a little bit less than that. But still, huge compared to a small school. And that really comes down to what you like. You need to come to a conclusion yourself. Do I like a big room, a large classroom, or do I want a small one? I preferred a small one. I kind of wanted more of that individual time with a professor. I kind of wanted to get to know the faculty, kind of get to have some one-on-one learning. That was just what I wanted. It was just personal preference. But say you desire to go to a big school. I have friends who did that, and they kind of can't tell me enough how much they enjoy it. They love to go to a lecture, sit in the big auditorium, take their notes, go home in a independent fashion like at all colleges, study the material, come back and take the exams. They kind of like not having someone kind of like watching over them. I guess I would say they like that autonomy they have of complete freedom with their academics. Again, that's just preference. So really make that distinction clear for yourself. Do you want a large classroom where you don't have someone really watching over you, or someone close by if you want help, or do you want a smaller classroom where you will inevitably have someone watching over you, they're around, but if you need assistance, they're there. If you have questions, they're there. It's the design of the college. Okay, so another topic to consider here is, do you want to attend a college that's far away or one that's close to where you live now and where you're going to high school? Mine is like, it's not, where I went to college, it's not so far from my hometown, but it's not very far, but still it's, I still moved out. Some of my friends went far on the East Coast. I have a friend who went to Penn State. That was just her decision. She enjoys it. But that's something you need to consider. I have friends who enjoy coming home after class and going to their home with their family and that warm environment, while some of my friends really, really enjoy being on their own. After a day of classes and labs, they go home, they have their apartment, they're either by themselves or they have roommates or whatever. They really enjoy kind of being on their own, having their autonomy, and enjoying all the benefits associated with it. Again, that's completely your preference. Do you want to go to a college campus that's far from your home or close? It depends what you want. Either way, I don't think it makes a great deal of difference. It depends on you as a person. You have to really kind of ask yourself those honest questions. Where am I going to be comfortable for the next 4 years? And how well do I know myself? Can I handle being on my own? Or do I desire to have family and friends close? So those are some very broad, but what I consider to be important topics for you to consider when picking a college. Some more minor points would be, do you want to go to a college that has certain opportunities? And I say it's a minor point because a lot of colleges have opportunities. So if you've decided I want to go to a big school and I want it to be far away, you still have a lot of choices, or if you've decided to be big and close, big school close to home, you still have a lot of choices. And the subcategory of choices, what kind of programs do they have? Do they have a well-established biology department? Do they have a well-established chemistry program? Do they have a really good writing program? And that you really have to investigate and kind of pick out of the admissions people, or kind of just go to the school and talk to them and feel it out to see, do they have the programs you're interested in? I'm not saying you should know your major before you even go in, but you have an idea of what you want, what you're interested in, and see if they have what you want to accommodate your needs. And the last point that I'm going to say is important to consider, I'm sure there's a million more things you can think of when it comes to picking college, but here are just some of the big ones, obviously. The last point is going to be environment. I talked about big school, small school, private, public. This last point about environment is the actual physical environment of the campus. Where is the campus located, and what is the nearby community? Do you want to be in a large city? Do you want to be more like hidden away in the hills? Or do you want to be close to the bay, or do you want to be in the middle of nowhere? That is up to you. My college is like hidden away in the middle of the hills, a lot of grass, a lot of greenery, a lot of forestry around me. I like that environment. It's, I find it very enjoyable. Another college that I went to, UC Berkeley, it still had a lot of that forestry and kind of earthy environment, but it also had a very city component to it. So if you're a person who just wants to be flat out in the city, consider going to one of those schools. Or if you want to be kind of a little smaller campus, kind of hidden away in the forestry, or you want to be somewhere where it's very rural, you want to kind of be out there in the middle of nowhere, that's very much up to you. That's what, if that's where you feel comfortable, that's what you should do. And the best way to identify this point, ask yourself the question, and also go and look at the campuses. I know it's not the most fun thing to do because it can get kind of tiresome seeing so many colleges and trying to decide, but it's important because you'll kind of get a feel. I remember when I was doing my kind of like the orientation, or they kind of give you a tour of the campus, I kept trying to ask myself, do I feel comfortable here? Do I feel kind of relaxed where I can study, where I can kind of hang out? Do I feel okay? And that was kind of an important point to me. Do you feel good there? So look at that final point, look into it, do some research, go out and visit. Don't be afraid to bug the admissions committee. That's their job. When you're out there, you can see people wearing the school clothes, talk to them, be like, hey, I have some questions. Everyone's very responsive to help incoming students. And don't be shy. Picking a college is important. You want to have a good foundation for your later studies, and you want to have fun those 4 years. You want to be at an enjoyable location. So this wraps up the video on picking your college, and please remember to rate this video. Comment below if you have any questions, you want to add some points that I missed in this video, or things that you think are important. Leave them below so others can read them and kind of see what you think. And also send me a message if you want, if you have any questions, or if you want to ask me something, or if you want to give me a suggestion. Thank you for watching this episode.